Hello everyone, Sable here, covering the first match of week 6. Now, I'm recording this just a couple days into week 7, so I'm pretty happy that I'm getting caught up at this point. I'm still putting these up at just one per day because I've got life events coming up, so I won't be able to record or do any more of these during that. So I figured just put up one a day, schedule them a bit in advance, and that way I'll have some stuff going while I am busy with other life events. But pretty happy that as I'm recording this, I'm nearly caught up to the present. By the time that semifinals are about on Saturday, I should have all of week 7 uploaded at that pace of one a day, which means probably I'll get to cover semifinals like roughly live. It might be that I end up like doing the replays after they go up, but a lot of people play on Sunday, so maybe if it's at a good time, I'll end up actually covering them as they're happening instead of watching the replays afterward. We'll have to see. But for now, we've got YBW versus BeeOrSomething. B's been on a bit of a comeback for sure. Definitely doing better than some of the early weeks. I want to say around like week 2, week 3, B started to get the metagame a lot more and things started turning around, but definitely had some bad luck in some of those matchups like week 3, which held him back from getting a win on the board for a little while, but turning it around now. YBW struggling in this one for sure. Definitely been some bad luck, but I think also just getting called out on a lot of builder stuff. So I guess we'll see how week 6 goes and if YBW can turn it around or if B keeps on this comeback arc. So Tauros versus Zam and Ubers, you might just stay and attack this, but you could also go to Egg and go for sleep. Going to Egg's a little bit scary just because 55% chance to hit sleep powder through paralysis means you can very easily fail to get anything in this matchup. But gets it right away in this time and straight to Mewtwo as B hesitates because of Stun Spore, pretty reasonable. And I wonder if it'll be a T-Wave or just Amnesia. So T-Wave Mewtwo, I'm guessing this is T-Wave Mew because usually that's the reason you switch it in. But paralyzes, and another para. So this could end up just becoming a trade situation very quickly. We'll see exactly what B is going to do, but setting up Sword Stance, so willing to fight this, or at least to bait an explosion? I wonder if that was to bait explosion. If so, like, fairly reasonable. I do doubt that YBW has another sleeper just because a lot of people rely on Mono Executor to do it. But pivoting through Zam to Mewtwo, trying not to bait some kind of status move, or Stun Spore, Explosion, etc. And Mewtwo in -1, clicks Blizzard, no freeze. And right to Slowbro for B. So anticipating this is not a T-Bolt Mewtwo, which to be fair, usually if they have T-Wave, they're not T-Bolt. I'm not sure anyone but me really runs T-Bolt T-Wave Mewtwo. I like Blizzbolt sometimes with a T-Wave on it, but not sure anyone else does that. And now Egg coming back into Slowbro, so YBW gonna have to make a choice here of do I want this to check Slowbro or Mew? It's pretty hard to check both because you're probably gonna have to boom at some point. And B committing, I wonder if B will try to catch an explosion at some point or just stay in and force it. So Surf, now YBW really has to click explosion and does. And that's a Slowbro at 14%, which is means it's probably not going to get switched out here. Yeah, and now there's not really a check in front of this Mewtwo. T-Wave Amnesia revealed it could be 2 attacks or it could be like Blizzard Boom, or Blizzard Recover, but I guess we'll have to see. B notably not paralyzing anything besides that egg, so forcing it with Slowbro so that he can get sleep afterward with his own egg versus the Tauros that comes into Revenge Kill. So that's kind of nice. It's always a little bit of a weight off once you do get that sleep down, because now you feel a lot more comfortable just spreading para and that you're not going to accidentally like block sleep on yourself. Also, like if you get stun spore as Mewtwo comes in, even if it's a barrier too, you always have the option to just rip the boom right away and not let it set up that first barrier. YBW not really known to use barrier, so I don't think that's necessarily the concern here. And B switching Mew into Starmie, that seems to telegraph it probably has soft boiled on this set. I would guess Swords Dance, Thunder Wave, soft boiled, and then one attack. Earthquake being the typical one. which does raise some questions as to B's last. A lot of people think with T-Wave Earthquake that you should always run Rhydon or Golem so that you don't leave yourself open to Zapdos. I don't necessarily subscribe to that idea. So I do wonder what B's got last. Like, this could really be anything on a team like this. Zambro Egg, T-Wave Mew, possibly T-Wave Mewtwo does suggest probably a physical attacker of some kind. Like, you want something to capitalize on that. But it could be not a T-Wave Mewtwo, so the angle might be different than I'm expecting. YBW side, we see Tauros, Executor, Slowbro, Starmie. We know the last is a Mew. A lot of tons of T-Wave. I have to assume the Mew is Hyper Beam Earthquake because otherwise, where's your offense here? Is it all in this lead Tauros? So not a lot of boom on YBW side makes me think it's meant to be Paraspam. Oh, okay. So the Slowbro is also like very WinCon heavy. It's not even T-Wave, it's just Reflect. This is Amni, Reflect, Surf, and Rest. The idea is kind of like Barrier 2. You set up the Reflect, and then you're very hard to break. Of course, Slowbro just gets killed by any critical electric attack, so it's not quite as safe, and it's very greedy because you don't get the T-Wave, and you are nowhere near as strong as Mewtwo, but could work out here. It does seem like B is kind of lacking answers to it based on how this is going. But it's still like very beatable if there's like one or if there's one more boom user on the team, like if that Mew has boom, if there's a boom on the last Pokemon, then two booms here is good enough to pretty much handle this. Still a pretty big cost to pay for one Slowbro though. And now that this rested, B might boom now so that it can't wake up. Yeah. And gets the crit anyway, so that definitely a bit of a bailout for B. But regardless, booming that without letting it burn a single turn of sleep is pretty good. YBW booming Mewtwo immediately. I don't agree with that at all. So I'm going to think about this for a second and see if there's a good reason for that. But I do wonder if that's just tilt because what is he afraid of with this Mew? So the Mew is paralyzed, the Mewtwo isn't paralyzed. That means the Mew needs to spend at least one turn T-waving it before boosting to try to get faster than it. We already know that this Mewtwo has Amnesia. I'm not sure I see why you wouldn't just click Blizzard, which I assume is the last move, or Amnesia and push the heck out of this Mew. You probably can KO it after it T-waves you. It so that boom did what, 55%. So it did 77. Blizzard would have done about a third. You need one crit in 2 tries or a para in 2 tries. I think you just have to hit it and try to push the advantage, and then you can boom on the Mewtwo. I'm not a big fan of booming a healthy Mewtwo that quickly on something that wasn't really a threat, just to get Starmie in like this. So it looks like the Alakazam is going to get sacked to allow Mewtwo in. I think you might want to pivot right now, possibly. It's possible that YBW has some last, well, we know the last is Mew, but might set up the Mew and win. But B actually just staying in and managing to wake this Zam by an inch. That Blizzard would have needed a pretty high roll to KO, but definitely going B's way. And a Thunder Wave here from Starmie, so not even trying to finish it off in exchange for T-Wave, predicting that B will just recover. And now setting up. This is pretty scary for B. If you paralyze once, it's probably really bad. And even if you don't, like, this Mew is a threat. So I do wonder, I think this is going to depend on, okay, so there is a physical attacker last, there's the Rhydon, and this seems a bit tough for Mew because even though you're +2 with Earthquake, that's not quite good enough to beat Rhydon if you para once or twice. So we might be here for a little bit watching this Mew recover up, try to stay out of range of this healthy Mewtwo. But Rhydon's got decent odds here. You just keep pushing, there's no reason you to do anything else. Here, I guess you could sub, but you could also push. I think they're pretty much equivalent options, to be honest. And the Rhydon gonna sub up. Now you just need one para. Okay, that might work. I mean, the Mew still can try to heal, but it's gonna take a lot of heals. Ooh, critical. Okay, YBW probably lost this. I think the only out here would be Tauros turn 1 Waking. You can't risk, like, even if the Starmie didn't just get crit there, which sucks for YBW, that wouldn't have done much. The Rhydon would have KO'd it in exchange for its sub. Then you have a Tauros, it's going to take at least one hit from Rhydon, and then there's a Mewtwo in back, and possibly the Mew if this Mewtwo paralyzes it and then reapplies, although I don't think that's relevant. Ultimately, that was going to be a very uphill battle for YBW as soon as the Rhydon broke the Mew, which wasn't particularly unlikely. So B gets the first game. I do wonder if this Mew had Hyper Beam, and if it was Mono Quake, then I'm kind of wondering why. I feel like that's a little too all in on the Slowbro win con. I've definitely done stuff like Slowbro plus Hyper Beam Mew win cons with multiple para spreaders besides them. But I think like you just can't put all your eggs in the Slowbro basket in 2025. It has a lot of vulnerabilities. It can get taken out by lots of random stuff, as we just saw there, an Egg Boom critting it through Reflect. So I don't think you can put all your eggs in that basket anymore. It's pretty tough. You don't have the immediate huge threat that Barrier 2 does to back it up. You don't get quite the setup opportunities because you're so slow. But in this case, B takes game 1, and we'll hop right into game 2. So Tauros on B's side and Executor on YBW's side. So good lead off for YBW, assuming the sleep hits, which it does. Now I wonder immediate stun spore or switch, or what will we have? Just a psychic. So best case for B getting in, no drop. Gets stunned. And now I assume sleep's coming. Yep. So YBW not trying to get a boom prediction right, B not fearing it. And now Chansey hit on a crit psychic of B's own. And right back to egg, so really convinced that B is going to boom, and I guess we'll never know. I assume now maybe going back to Chansey. Oh, not quite. And B does not stun spore, so doesn't get stuck in this egg war with no way to put it to sleep. And YBW again not booming. So YBW very much expecting a rapid boom from B, but also like not really being willing to pull the trigger himself. And now B gets in Mewtwo for free. I'm assuming it's not going to set up because we've seen a Chansey. Just Blizzards, and now we'll probably take the chance to get some momentum, or maybe not if a Chansey is coming in. So Blizzard Mewtwo, Chansey coming in. This Mewtwo very much had a chance to click T-Wave and didn't, so I do wonder if it has T-Wave or if it's like 2 attacks amnesia or something of the like. But probably going to see the Chanseys just trade T-Waves here and then see the game be played. B seems to be pretty fond of Rhydon, so, well, there it is. Yeah, I was gonna say, I feel like there could be a Rhydon here, and if so, once you paralyze the Chansey, it's a pretty easy entry, hopefully a slam here. So Earthquaking, expecting the Chansey might consider staying in, or something else could come in that's worth hitting, and then right back to Chansey on the Mewtwo coming in. Could double back to Rhydon. I would pretty strongly consider it. Yep, there it is. Okay, nice play B, but this time slam. And another Earthquake. So kind of just looking for crits, or okay, now as the Mewtwo recovers, he's gonna click a slam. So no para, now gonna have to get out. And YBW doubling back to Chansey, which I find odd because this double doesn't get you very much. You get in here, but even if you make the right predict, you either paralyze a Chansey or you seismic toss a Rhydon for 24% of its health and you let it back in again. I wouldn't say it's the most ideal. So just a toss, predicting Rhydon to come back in, and maybe now the Rhydon going to come in, predicting a T-Wave turn, but we'll never know. Either way, like, you're getting your money's worth out of this Rhydon on B's side, and this time predicting and slamming on the switch out. Wonder if he'll stay and call out the Mewtwo on recover, but not this time. Double back again, maybe? I would keep doubling. I feel like you've had chances to get away with it. I don't think YBW is willing to risk that Mewtwo so easily. The fact that the Mewtwo keeps switching into Rhydon. Oh, okay, calling out YBW on doubling this time. So never mind. So switching in the Mewtwo, trying to catch the Rhydon, and now just gonna be stuck here. And I mean you've got recover, so you can stall on this chance. Oh, okay. If that's the case, why didn't he go for this? Well, no, because you don't want to go for it on the Chansey. I feel like, okay, so if YBW is willing to go for it here, why not go for it any of the earlier times? And also, why is he willing to go for it here? There's a Chansey on the other side, and Chansey is one of the things that checks Barrier 2 pretty well. The problem is, right, if you freeze it, then Mewtwo and Mew, if they have recovery, they just stonewall you. Usually you can PP stall one of them, but you can't PP stall both. The rest of B's team looks extremely weak to Barrier Ice too, but you need to remove the Chansey. You have 3 other Pokemon. Presumably some of them have Boom. And I do wonder why only this Chansey has been shown to now when you had the option to do more. So this Mewtwo is probably going to have to use a lot of PP to get through the Chansey if he just sits here fishing for a freeze. It's T-Bolt, then you obviously don't want to reveal that. Probably not T-Bolt. It's really only Ghastlies, and like once in a while I've used that, but I don't think most people would because it is a little bit of a Mickey Mouse set. But I guess we might find out shortly. And only setting up to +2, really not afraid of getting boomed, I guess. We might be here a bit. Now just PP stalling, like show me what your Mewtwo has. Chansey has a lot of PP generally. It's not like if you stall this Mewtwo for half its PP, then something else will stall the rest. Probably your own Mewtwo if it has recover. And Psychic. Okay, I have never seen a Barrier Psychic Mewtwo before. And the reason why I feel like is pretty obvious. This team has 4 answers to Barrier Psychic Mewtwo on it. So obviously Egg is not a great answer now that it's paralyzed and chipped. But this Chansey, okay, the special drop helps. I see like the idea here, the special drop lets you break through something like Chansey. But I just super disagree with it. You just don't have a real threat against if there's a Mew with soft boiled on this side and the Mewtwo has recover, you have 0 threat. I don't know if B should have recovered there. Because like this is gonna do a million damage. Yeah. I think B needed to strongly consider just going to Mewtwo on the prior turn, saving some HP on the Chansey so that it can come back in later and get some recovery off. And Amnesia of B's own, I do wonder if this has recover. And if not, then YBW, I think, blundered pretty badly by not staying in. I think in YBW's shoes, you're already that committed. You may as well just stay in and click a button and see what this Mewtwo does. But getting out, and now like you've overplayed your hand, your opponent knows exactly what you have and how to beat it. So crit body slam, definitely some luck for YBW. I assume B wanted to para that before going into Rhydon. But the Rhydon going to come back in. The Mewtwo not really going to be able to check it anymore now that it's paralyzed. Just Rhydon looking like a threat. Especially with that Earthquake, so rolling well enough to not get like the super low rolls where you fail to kill Lax. Not that it's very likely. And Mew forced in. Bit of a lucky crit, but I mean, that Rhydon has quick clicked a lot of Earthquakes at this point, like 5 of them and a couple body slams. It happens. And B going straight to Mew, I assume T-Wave. Yeah, I'm gonna guess this is either T-Wave Earthquake or like T-Wave and then Earthquake Boom with no recovery. But B just gonna keep trying to get his money's worth out of this Rhydon, probably gonna click some body slams. Earthquakes also make sense, and I assume that YBW's got Mono Quake Mew just because it seems to be a favorite of his. I do wonder what's going on with this team. So we got a Chansey, an Executor, a Snorlax. I wonder what this Mew set is, because if it's just T-Wave Earthquake, that's terrible support for a Barrier 2, and the last could really be anything. I would hope it's something with Explosion, based on what YBW is running so far. And getting out to Mew on a presumed Earthquake. Free setup chance. So honestly, B could push this, especially if this is some kind of more offensive Mew. You've got that para support from Chansey. You might have T-Wave on this Mewtwo. There's like just enough here that this could be a Hyper Beam Mew. But it's also got T-Wave. So maybe it's Earthquake Boom. Either way, at +4, it's pretty threatening here. You have to still get a T-Wave on it, and it's at +4 hitting you the whole time, and the last move might not even be softball, that might just be Boom, in which case it trades really well. So more physical offense from YBW. Wonder if this is a T-Bolt Tauros to kind of help with Cloyster because the whole team looks absurdly weak to Cloyster. You have 3 Pokemon slower than it, and I possibly Monoquake Mew, which also doesn't do with it very well. I guess with this Mewtwo, you're not as worried because you have Psychic, but ultimately, it seems like B is going to get a little bit of luck with the paralysis and just break right through, but I think this game was already in his hands as soon as the +4 came through. And YBW just forfeiting makes sense given that the only thing left was Mew. Stop this, it's going to cost too many resources. I do wonder what the last move is here. If the last move here is Boom, I like this Mew set. If it's soft-boiled, it's like fine, but not really to my taste to run Chansey in this Monoquake Mew. That's the case. YBW side, I don't think I see the vision super well here with the Chansey. Like Mewtwo already is kind of doing the same thing. The Psychic idea with Barrier is kind of neat, but I think it's just suboptimal. Like without Ice Beam, you don't really have that threat to remove multiple Pokemon. You really are just kind of banking on the opponent not having any recovery, because if they have recovery on Mewtwo and Mew, then you're going to do absolutely nothing with it as soon as you reveal an attack. But ultimately, B wins. Definitely a little bit of lucky moments in here, but I would say B overall had the better teams and made some good plays. Really got the most out of that Rhydon in game 2 and got YBW here. So congrats to B. Seems like he's on a very solid comeback after a rough start in this tournament. YBW hopefully will get a chance to turn it around in week 7 because this has definitely not been his tour, but happens to the best of us. So that's all I've got for this one. I will see you with the rest of week 6 pretty soon after this one. And as always, let me know what you think. Feel free to leave a comment, whatever that would help me do better videos or cover things that people are interested in. And I'll see you in the next one.